A few days ago, I got a comment talking about how I don't do measurements on any of my listings. This person had an opinion, and I actually welcome different opinions. I feel like people will look at the way that I run a business or the advice that I'm giving, and they don't realize that like this is what works for me and doesn't necessarily work for you. And I'm giving out my advice on what works for me, but I'm not telling you that this is like a black and white way to run your business. Business is high volume. I sell a lot. And so for me, the amount of workload that it would take to have someone or to even do it myself, I can't even imagine doing it myself. I used to actually have someone that did measurements for me, and she did a great job, but it just didn't end up making sense for me. And it works for me. It may not work for other people, and I totally value that. And one thing I will say though, and probably my biggest piece of advice, is that if you are sitting waiting to list items because you haven't done measurements and you haven't photographed it perfectly, or you don't have the right keywords, the description isn't perfect, I would say to list the item, and then if you have time, go back and rework it. An item that is not listed is not going to sell, obviously. So I always feel like if people are getting bogged down on all of these to-dos, to just list it. When I first started reselling, I listened a lot to how I built this, and specifically the Sarah Blakely who founded Spanx, and she talks so much about other people's opinions, how she kept a lot of things quiet, and I think that's important. You can take people's opinions, you can take people's advice, but you need to do what's best for you. I remember when I first started reselling, a lot of different resellers were showing like these beautiful packages that they were sending out. They were like folding the tissue paper really well, and they were including all these beautiful stickers, and like everything looked amazing. And so I decided that I was going to buy a bunch of stickers, and I was going to work on packaging and making the tissue paper look beautiful. I still use tissue paper, but I really struggled because that's just like I'm not a creative person. I don't have an artistic bone in my body. So for me, I tried it didn't work, and I love that people do that. But I think you have to navigate and realize what's best for you in your business. And that takes time, but just realize that like everyone has their own business. Just my little 2 cents on this Thursday.